In this video we're going to talk about quadratic inequalities and their graphs. Consider a quadratic equation like x squared equals 4. To solve this, we have to take the square root of both sides, like this. And at this moment we have to consider a plus and minus in front of this square root of 4 because the answer to this equation will be 2 as well as minus 2. Why? Because 2 squared is 4 as well as minus 2 squared is 4. Right? Because minus 2 times minus 2, which is minus 2 squared, is 4 because minus times minus makes plus. So we have two solutions, x equals 2 or x equals minus 2. Keeping this in mind, let's look at the inequality. Now consider x squared is less than 4. In this case, we will use x squared equals 4, therefore the boundaries, like when we solve this, square root of x squared is square root of 4, it's going to be a plus minus, and that will give us x equals 2 as well as x equals minus 2. So we're going to use these borders to solve this inequality. Now if you consider the number line as minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 and so on, our borders are here, right? It's 2 and minus 2. Now the question is, what x values will satisfy our inequality? Now let's consider x to be 0. Now if I substitute this into the inequality, it's going to be 0 squared less than 4, which we're checking at the moment, so we don't know yet. 0 squared is 0 less than 4, which is true. So actually the value 0 satisfies our inequality. This means the region where 0 is, which is actually here, this region, is the region where all the x values that satisfy the inequality lies, right? You can try another one if you want to. If you consider x to be 1, then 1 squared, which is 1, will be less than 4. So that's correct. Whereas if you try x equals 3, for example, then it's going to be 3 squared, right? Which will be 9. And 9 is not less than 4. So 3 is not in our solution set. Consider this one, x squared is less than 16. So if we solve x squared equals 16, the solution will be x equals 4 as well as x equals negative 4. So these are our borders, right? So if we consider the number line again, in this case I'm going to go like, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I will have the borders marked, and I can try any number in between, like 0, which is the easiest to calculate. So 0 squared, which is 0, is less than 16, so 0 satisfies our inequality. So this region in between the borders will satisfy our inequality. Now if the inequality would have an equal sign here, so it's going to be less than or equal to, then I was to fill these circles, so it's going to be in full. When it is something like x squared greater than 9, we will start with solving x squared equals 9 as before. So this will give me x equals 3 as well as x equals negative 3. So on my number line, right, I will have the borders being 3 and minus 3. Now, if I try for x equals 0, for example, what's going to happen is I write 0 into the inequality, so it's 0 squared greater than 9. Well, I end up with 0 greater than 9, which is not correct. So actually, this region, right, between the borders, does not satisfy the inequality, because I just chose 0 from this region, and it didn't satisfy the inequality. I could choose another one, x equals 1, right? 1 squared is greater than 9. Well, 1 squared is 1, which is not greater than 9. So, actually, the region where I'm choosing my numbers is not the region I'm looking for. So basically, I will ignore this bit. Now I can try x equals 4. 4 squared will be 16, and 16 is greater than 9. So that's good. I'm going to consider this region. Whereas, if I try, let's say, minus 4, minus 4 squared will be 16 again. Minus 4 times minus 4 is 16. So this also satisfies the inequality. So I have to consider this region. So basically, if we change the inequality to the other side, then instead of considering this region, we consider the opposite as our solution, which is this region. And obviously, if we have an equal sign here, then we have to fill in the circles. In case you have something like x squared plus 5 is less than, let's say, 14, right? All you need to do is to leave x squared alone, because you cannot take the square root here, as there is addition, so you cannot take anything outside. So what's going to happen is you go like minus 5 from both sides, as if you're solving an equation. Then it's going to be x squared less than 9, and then you solve accordingly, and then you can take the square root, right? And you end up with, you can write it like this too, if you want, and then you can draw on the number line and so on. Now it's your turn. Solve these inequalities and illustrate each one on a number line. Remember, you have to leave x squared alone in each inequality so that you can take the square root and go on. Thank you.